Over the past months, the fighting in the Kursk region has not subsided. With the onset of the new year, it has also continued. Ukrainian forces are still moving additional forces into the region, while Russian troops are covering them with fire. Nevertheless, in the first days of January, the AFU, against the background of failures on the DPR fronts, undertook another PR sortie in the Kursk region. They were able to briefly occupy the farm Berdin, but were knocked out and retreated with heavy losses. The attacks by Russian troops in several areas of the Sudzhansky district continued unabated. At the beginning of the month, the AFU soldiers established control over Ruskoye Porechnoye, but numerous cases of abuse of civilians were recorded in the liberated village. The AFU members raped women, shot old men in the ankles, tortured them, and before the arrival of Russian troops, they killed all their victims. Nevertheless, the offensive continued. Already, by January 8th, it became clear that the enemy had been finally knocked out of Kruglik, while the main fighting shifted to Malaya Loknya. To the south, the zone of control was considerably extended and the beginning of the advance towards Sverdlikovo and Loknya. Meanwhile, in Pogrebki and Makhnovka, Russian attack aircraft engaged in fierce counterfighting. The enemy often attacked with the support of armored vehicles, which was able to slow down the advance of the Russian armed forces. Outside of urban areas, the Russian attack aircraft were relatively successful. Dashing breakthroughs by armored vehicles allowed the AFU to dislodge several forest belts and liberate Agronome by January 9th. By the 20th of the month, the Russian attack aircraft managed to make some further advances toward Malaya Loknya, but were unable to enter the village itself. The enemy concentrated large forces here, including special forces, and counterattacked several times. Despite this, by the end of the month, the AFU managed to push back from Zeleny Shliak and reach the outskirts of Sverdlikovo. And, to the south, Nikolayevo-Dar'ino was liberated, where the enemy was knocked out almost to the state border. Against the backdrop of the Russian armed forces' successes, Ukrainian forces fired HIMARS MLRSs at a boarding school in Suja, where civilians had been evacuated. After the attack, the AFU immediately claimed that the Russian side was allegedly involved in the incident, but the footage that appeared on the web said the opposite. By now, there has been an operational pause in Kursk Oblast due to weather conditions. For the time being, the sides are pulling up reserves and preparing to intensify fighting when either spring frosts hit or the ground finally dries out.